And hello, everybody. Thank you indeed for clicking on. Appreciate you being here. And it is the World Sit Rep. Chris going to be with us here soon. And in the meantime, we will take a look at the headlines. Once again, thanks for clicking on. Um, we got a few headlines to get to here, and we will begin with North Korea. North Korea, we talked last night. If you joined us, we talked that North Korea had launched a intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, was in the air for 70 minutes and fell into the Sea of Japan. The missile launch proved that North Korea has the capability of striking anywhere in the United States. So a very comforting, sarcasm intended there, way of starting off tonight. Second story to share real quick is that no, hold on. Okay. I didn't realize that was going to be up there. British Petroleum, or BP, halts oil and gas shipments through the Red Sea after rebel attacks. And let me find the statement here. It is from the U.S. Department of Defense. The recent escalation in reckless Houthi attacks, because British Petroleum wasn't the only oil company that was stopping all shipping. So there's probably going to be a price spike, of course, right around Christmas, in both oil and possibly other goods, as the supply chain will, there'll be a crink in the supply chain because of what's going on with the Houthi rebels. However, the United States is getting ready to do something about it. We'll see if it's actual action or if it's just positioning and intimidation. But nonetheless, the Dwight D. Eisenhower carrier that was off the coast of Iran is now off the coast of Yemen, having navigated some 2,000 miles in about 10 days. So, and we'll take a look at that coming up. But here's the statement on what's going on. Recent escalation in reckless Houthi attacks originating from Yemen threatens the free flow of commerce, endangers innocent mariners, and violates international law. Red Sea is a critical waterway. And so it's called Operation Prosperity Guardian. They got to keep the money flowing. Operation Prosperity Guardian is bringing together multiple countries, the United Kingdom, Bahrain, Canada, France, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Seychelles, and Spain, along with the United States, jointly address security challenges in the southern Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, with the goal of ensuring freedom of navigation for all countries and bolstering regional security and prosperity. So we will, Chris will be up here soon. We will ask him and see if that's going to lead to anything. Germany is going to be deploying troops for the first time since World War II. This comes in from Newsweek. Lithuania and Germany have announced that a roadmap action plan, a multi-year plan involving approximately 4,800 permanently stationed German soldiers in Lithuania. And Russia's Wagner or Wagner Group, depending on where you're at, has been rebranded and is now named the Africa Corps, the same name that Erwin Rommel conducted war against the Allies in Africa. A longtime Putin ally ran the private military company until August, when he died in an apparent plane bombing. Shock. Um, let's see, where are we at? Military group, also known as Africa Corps, closely mirroring the Nazi Africa Corps, has been shoring up power in Central African Republic, in Libya, and other African nations since at least 2018. We've got Texas. This came in just 3 hours ago. Texas has enacted, the governor signed into law, a state law from Texas that no illegal entry into Texas, and it's intending for migrants crossing the border illegally. So it appears the governor of Arizona has sent troops, National Guard troops, to the border, and now Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a law allowing state law enforcement to arrest people suspected of crossing U.S.-Mexico border illegally, giving local officers powers long delegated to the U.S. government, in a move likely to trigger legal challenges. So, at least in appearances, they are trying to do something about the insecurity at the border. And this, what you see here now, is a map. This is not a, as far as we know anyway, not a legitimate real CNN map. This is a mock-up that is in the movie Leave the World Behind. And I've talked about the movie. I talked about the movie last Friday night, and we might possibly do something either Tuesday or Thursday. Probably now it'll be Thursday if we do something. But I wanted to point out a couple of things about the map. I said I was going to talk about the QR code. The QR code is right here over West Virginia and part of Kentucky. You can barely see it there, but if you've got a big screen and or a better screen, if you're watching on a phone, you're not going to be able to see it probably at all. But it is right here in this area in eastern Kentucky and in parts of West Virginia. It goes to an abandoned amusement park, by the way, but we'll get to that when we talk about the show. The reason I'm bringing this up is because even in this map, it shows levels of high disruption, substantial, moderate, and then low or none. And the Los Angeles area, the San Francisco area, substantial damage, but not high. The high areas, if you'll notice, the high areas are areas where a lot of our military bases are, especially our command and control, our nuclear capable areas, including right up here in the state of Washington, where there's one little black dot. That's because you got to disrupt that, because that is the communication with all of the submarines in the Pacific. So, all that being said, we got the X file to go through. I'm going to bring Chris up here. I think I heard him click in here, and I did. And we'll get rid of the map. Hello, how are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Barry?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I mentioned the movie Leave the World Behind, and I haven't done any spoilers as of yet, but this is not really a spoiler. It's just something mentioned in the movie at some point. a three part a three-step plan to bring down any country from within. Step number one, a cyber attack, or some form of bringing down the power, the communications, and transportation, um, creating confusion and mistrust. Um, and then the second stage is uh, again the 72 hours. Everything breaks down, and
Hmm.
then radical members of the military do a coup d'etat, and we have civil war. And that's the easiest way to take a country down from within. Um, I think the CIA, or I shouldn't say that, allegedly, some of the things I've read point to the fact the CIA might have done that in some countries before. And
Uh-huh.
just to start the night out, isn't that something that we ought to be thinking about could be happening to us, or are we just so arrogant that we don't think anything's ever going to happen here?
Well, I think the easiest way for to destroy a country from within is to have open borders and let these people come in and tear a country up. That's what I really think. That coupled by a cyber attack, right? You have all these things going on around, going on in your country at the same time. Your country can't sustain that. You see, and then on top of that, you talk about a coup. There's just no way your country's ever going to sustain that. That's automatic uh,
Um,
collapse, right? But
the
but
the first step was isolation.
hmm
You isolate the country by taking down all of its communications, and then you
uh-huh,
take down all the power, and so you sending mass chaos into the especially big cities.
right,
Um, and then that's when when all of that is going, and I wrote about it. I'm going to plug my book here real quick. I wrote about it in my book.
uh,
um, you can find the link in the description below. Anyway, um, it just it seems to me like we're set up for that to happen.
well, all countries have their downfall. You see, all major countries have their downfall. So maybe what you wrote in your book is actually legitimate. You see what I'm saying? And it's a way for this country to um, collapse because certain interests, you know, from outside really want the collapse of this
And
country.
I wrote in my book, um, they're discussing, why they should be two two elite people decide they are going to take over the country because they can't trust the voters, because the voters know just enough to be dangerous, and they almost uh, the people almost took back power at one
Uh-huh.
point. Okay, this is a
Right.
fiction book, but anyway, um, and in it, uh, I it's just it's too crazy. Um, it's too crazy. Look, the the open borders.
Um,
It's so crazy that you say this because you and I haven't talked about this, and honestly, I'm kind of freaked out a little bit because I spent like an hour and a half talking with Lori Arnold earlier
right.
about the open borders and about the number of people coming across of of um, military service age, shall we
Right.
say, and where are all these people going, and and how are all these people being sustained, and who are they being sustained by? And the fact that if there was a cyber attack, if there was um, a total power blackout, or a massive power outage across the country, um, the fear and panic would go through the roof. And
Yeah.
at the same time, you've got a whole bunch of people coming across the border illegally. You mentioned the border, coming across the border illegally, that we don't know where they're going, what they're doing, what their purpose is, and if or not, and whether they have a mission or not. And I totally get why you say that's the number one thing in your head.
Right. So when I take a look at, you talked about the sustainment, right, of of these people coming in. Apparently, the United States government is actually assisting these people, financially,
In
giving
a
them
lot
house,
of cases, it seems like it, yeah.
and
And and if it's a mom, if it's a mother with 3 kids that is escaping, Venezuela with, poverty ridden, and they want a better place, yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people of military men of military age from numerous countries coming across the border, and in many cases, totally unobstructed,
right.
like they're welcomed, as you said.
So the thing about that one is um, you don't know where they're going, and actually, if they actually have people in country. You see, if they have people in country, then that's who they're gonna link up with,
Mhm.
and they're gonna get their support system from them, right? And who know? I mean, who knows what they're up to? They say, yeah, we're gonna get a job, but you got listen. I've
And
heard people.
hopefully that's what they are going to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's what they
Well,
are going to do, but
well, I've heard
we
that
don't know.
right. But I've heard people that you had military age males from like Syria coming through, and those guys from
China, a lot
Syria.
of Chinese, a
Yeah,
lot of Chinese.
yeah. It's like since when did the Chinese people want to come to the United States all like that? I'm like,
Yeah.
since when? Since when? That's a new one to me. But
And
but the whole
how do they get the funds? How do they get out of the country? There are a lot of, you know, and they basically have an online, mapping system of where to go once you get here, where to go once you get here, and how to get across the border.
right. So they obviously have, like I said, they have a support system already set in place.
Mhm.
Right? And because that support system, um, like I said, if they're Syrian or someone from Lebanon or maybe from I, I don't know, Iran, or from like someone from the Levant, okay, or even Yemen. I heard they got people coming in from Yemen, and then also people coming in from like west coast of Africa. So the whole thing about it is a lot of those people are jihadists, okay, and because they're jihadists, you really need to be concerned about who they're really affiliated with. Okay, when we talk about these terrorist attacks possibly happening very soon, right?
On our soil.
Right. So these jihadists are soldiers. Okay, they are soldiers. I don't care how you look at them, and a lot of them have real world
Oh,
fighting
they've
experience.
they've been fighting in Syria. They were probably fighting in Afghanistan. These are hardened fighters, and
Right.
I think that's a lot of what Hezbollah is as well.
Right. right? So the Syrians, Hezbollah, but like I said, you had those people coming in from I think they said they had some guy coming from Mauritania. Okay, and Mauritania is like right next to Mali. Okay, so he could have
Yeah.
been, he could be like IS, or one of those jihadists from one of those extremist groups coming in. Like I said, these guys these are soldiers, and they have real world experience. Okay, and now they're gonna come here and put that experience, you know, to America's test, and they're gonna bring it to America. They're gonna bring it to the American citizens and say, "Oh, hey, this is for Gaza. Because you're supporting Israel, this is what we're gonna do to you." Okay, so this is one way for um, the president to actually break or cut his ties or cut his support for Israel. If we get hit numerous, like multiple times, several times by these jihadists, these extremist jihadist groups, we're gonna have a problem here in the United States. We really are. I think yesterday I want people to, they can Google the I want people to Google the 2015 Paris attacks. Okay, and I also want them to see the Charlie Hebdo attack that happened in Paris, because that's pretty much what we're going to be facing. Okay,
And the attack in Paris, the second attack, the one on the magazine was orchestrated because of they did a caricature of Muhammad.
right.
Um,
But
eh,
but the point is it's the type of attack that
right.
that they're going to be
That,
doing.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. That was a targeted attack for a specific purpose. The second attack you're talking about in Paris, over 100 people killed at
Yep,
several different locations almost simultaneously.
exactly. So keep in mind,
And that's what we need to keep in mind. That's what we need to watch for here.
exactly. So I talked about protecting, you know, houses of worship. It doesn't matter what denomination. Okay, it's you protect the houses of worship, and you really need to protect the schools where the little kids are, because matter of fact, I was just talking to one of my buddies tonight about this, and I told him, you know, because of the airstrikes by the IDF, and they're killing all those little kids, you know, in the mosques, in the hospitals, they're killing civilian children. And the thing about it is, and I told people this on the show before. In Arabic culture, there's a saying, and I'm tell you the saying again: "Align balan wasin basin wabadi Islam." In Arabic, just means an eye for an eye, and tooth for a tooth. So the IDF bombing these the civilians and them being little children, best believe that they'll get retribution or come back on us here in the States, and they could actually target, Jewish schools, or, even American schools where, you got like little, kids from like second grade, maybe first grade up to maybe fifth or sixth grade, to see, let us feel what they're feeling. You see?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. And that's why I'm like saying, well, wait a minute, I really hope law enforcement in the states is are really starting to employ countermeasures, because when they attack, that's it. You're really not going to be able to stop them. I'm letting you know that right now. And there's no way in the world the FBI is going to be able to stop or disrupt all of those plots, which you're getting ready to do. It's not possible. If those groups tradecraft um, is really good and spot on, you'll never be able to stop them. I'm gonna let you know that right now.
They're not going to be sharing their information on social media for everybody to see and decipher.
No, I mean, I mean, there's other things that they're not going to be doing as well, you know.
Right.
And if their trade craft is spot on with what they're doing, they're going to be very, very difficult to stop. I'm letting you know that right now. And the bureau is not going to be able to stop them. So it's really going to be up to state and local law enforcement to step up their game, right? And start protecting the community, start turning soft target to hard targets. So you know that what happened in Paris doesn't happen here in the United States.
And we're not putting this out to scare people. We're not putting this out for fear porn for people that like the adrenaline rush of being afraid. We're putting this out because October 13th there was a call for worldwide jihad. We've seen in Great Britain Muslim leaders saying what they're going to do once they do rise up. It's not, if we rise up, it is when we rise up. And I played last Friday as well a Muslim leader from Michigan telling the youth of the United States and the youth of the Western world to pay attention to current events, and it was time to learn the word jihad. So we're we're putting this out there so that people can see what is potentially coming. Is there a storm coming?
Right, but also something that cleric or imam had said. He had told people to wake up. Remember that? He kept telling
Mm-hmm.
them to wake up, wake up.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
me, to me, it kind of sounds like, all right, we want those sleeper cells to be awakened,
Oh, I hadn't even thought about sleeper cells. I hadn't even
right?
thought about all I thought about was the youth that are in the streets hearing that and taking the next step. But I hadn't even thought about sleeper cells waking up. That's a damn good point.
Right. So that for all we know, that could have been code for them to be like, okay. But I think Khalid Mashal pretty much put it out on the 13th of October, talking about we're looking for fighters and martyrs, and right there it's telling me, look, we're looking for martyrdom operations. Okay, we're looking for fighters, and like I specifically told your audience before what specifically to look for, what type of terrorists, or what type of tactics to look for, and I'll tell them again. Most likely what you'll be seeing is active shooters, okay, and it could be a lone wolf, or it could be team, or it could be a team up to four, okay. Also, you're going to be looking at suicide bombers, right, and then also a vehicle-borne IEDs, right. But and like I said, if you go back and look at uh, the Paris attacks, that's kind of like what's it going to be like. If not, I mean, it could be worse, or it could be not as bad, but the just take it for what it was, from those the attacks in 2015, and kind of
And
expect that to be here.
not only that, but that was the tactic in Afghanistan, the tactic in Iraq. Um, that it's not it's nothing. It's what they are good at: operating
Right.
in small teams, staying quiet until time for the operation, and then succeeding in what they're trying to
Accomplish.
implement.
Right.
Yeah,
And what it
accomplish.
is,
Yeah.
it's trying to destroy our support for Israel. That's what it's really trying to do.
Okay, I want to bring up something here real quick from the Twitter scroll. This happened in New York City, um, and is ongoing, as far as I know. Um, Pro-Palestinian protesters occupied Grand Central Terminal in New York City in what is being called Strike for Gaza, shutting it down at multiple exits. And the group arrived by, this is why I'm bringing this up primarily. The group arrived by the subway from different parts of New York City. So they coordinated arriving in this location for this purpose, and they were spray painting or dropping stickers along the way. But this has gone on to not only shut down Grand Central in New York City, but they have moved out of that building, and I think they were trying to shut down uh, Manhattan, shut the Central Street in Manhattan. I can't think of the name of it. Um, anyway, the one that leads to Times Square. Um, so anyway, I think if they can organize and get this many people on a Monday, and they're calling for no work, no school, no, um, you know, no activities at all other than protest. And there were thousands and thousands of people that came out there. Um, we shouldn't be surprised to see smaller coordinated attacks if this is what they can accomplish peacefully, um, which is a mass accomplishment, then those that want violence, what they can accomplish, we should anticipate uh, that we need to do everything to stop it before it happens.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. But realistically, it's gonna be really hard to stop. I'm not gonna lie to you. All right. And
And
go ahead.
the, the to take that a step further, the possibility that once the first attack happens, or if it is a big coordinated attack, that will spur copycat attacks.
Well, it's not going to spur copycat attacks. It's just going to be all right. Well, that's what that cell was tasked to do. Right. Another cell might be tasked to do something else in a different city. You see?
What I mean by spurring, I mean like the lone wolves, the people that are going to act on their own accord and aren't part
Well,
of
yeah.
anything.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Them too. But once Khalid Mashal gave them the marching orders, it, you know, they're going to work in teams. Most of them are going to work in teams. I don't know if you remember what happened in Paris, but like for that the one attack, the second attack, I think
Mm-hmm.
there were three teams that worked together, right? You had
Mm-hmm.
one team that was doing suicide bombings. You had another team that was going directly to that concert, and then another team that was going to the pubs or the I guess the clubs and the bars,
Yeah. Yeah.
and lighting, shooting them up. So
Right.
you had
They
you
were
had like
I think they shot multiple bars. I
yeah,
think they did a suicide bombing at a cafe, and then uh, the one at the theater where the rock show was going on.
right. So like I said, there were three suicide bombers. I think there's like 10 of them all together. So that's a pretty big, you know, those are like almost three different cells. Okay, and they all
And
came together to execute, their plan, and they were pretty much successful at it.
our border's been open for a long time, and we have no idea who has come across or their intent.
Right. So, and the other thing, when we were talking about that Charlie Hebdo thing, the attack when the attackers went away, uh, allegedly one of the witnesses said at the second place where he went to that he had an RPG, a rocket propelled grenade. And I just talked to one of my buddies that works for Customs and Border Patrol. He's down there in Texas, and he pretty much I was like, hey, have you guys caught anyone with any like RPGs or anything like that? And he's like, we haven't caught anyone. I said, do you think they'll bring them over? He's like, probably. He's like, it's too easy to do. So could you just imagine one of these guys coming in with an RPG along with a suicide bomber, some suicide bombers, and guys with AK-47s, how much damage that's going to cause.
I had a
Okay.
story Sunday night. I had a story Sunday night that the Mexican police had stopped a vehicle that had 10 IEDs in it at the U.S. Mexican border.
Yeah, yeah. So like that's like all bad.
Yeah,
That's all bad.
yeah,
And these people now think about it. Though he just caught that one. Think about the ones that aren't being caught.
exactly. And you know, before September 11th, there were what 13 to 16 um, terrorists here in the country learning to fly, operating within the society, and all came together in different airports at the times they were supposed to hijack planes. If that small number can do something like that, imagine the numbers that have potentially come over because of the open borders,
Hmm.
and 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 where we could legitimately be sitting right now.
Right. So where we could be legitimate sitting right now. Well, here's the thing: there's no guarantees. I'll be totally honest. Like, there's really no guarantees. But I cannot figure out for the life of me why we have these open borders. That it just it to me it's almost like they want an attack to occur for whatever agenda they have you know um planned, because like what country leaves their borders wide open? Please tell me one country that does that.
I don't know.
Exactly. You see.
Yeah,
So to me it's like you're inviting trouble in to your country. Why? Where's the logic behind that? There isn't. It makes no sense. And like now the state governors, the governors are send the National Guard to the borders to protect the borders because the federal government won't do it. It's like
why
yeah, why? Like what? Who's preventing this from occurring? And what's the rationale,
and what's the rationale?
right?
Yeah,
So I'm just it's like they're wanting an attack to occur for some unknown reason. Okay, now
and that takes us, you know,
okay,
that takes us back to October 7th of this year, and the um, theory that Israel wanted the attack so they could do what they are doing in Gaza. It
well,
takes us back to
justification.
9/11. Takes us back to 9/11, where George W. Bush was having. He was an incredibly unpopular president, and and allegedly knew before it happened what was, what something was coming. We go
Yeah,
back to Pearl Harbor and Roosevelt. The only way to get in the war is if we're attacked, and we're living in a time. We're not going to know. Uh, the history books will decide, assuming humanity's around. History books will decide if we're being set up at the moment, but sure got a feeling like it might be happening.
yeah, and like I said, once those groups are launched, nine chance out of ten, you're not gonna be able to stop them. But you know that
Yeah.
right now. So I think there were 13 or 15 cities that were targeted. Now those are just the cities that they know about. What about the cities that they don't know about? You see?
The the five, and this is from the 2020 census, five largest the five cities with the largest Muslim populations were New York City, Philadelphia, um, Dearborn, Michigan,
Hmm.
Houston, Texas, and I don't remember where the fifth was. I think it was in New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
Close. Um, I don't remember what the town was, but anyway, um, and I it just feels like the Muslim population has grown in our country, or the overwhelming support the Palestinian people have started to garner in our
Yeah,
country.
yeah, for sure.
Does that surprise you, like it does me, that so much of the country is not just automatically, we stand with Israel?
Yeah, well, listen, keep in mind, a lot of countries aren't supporting Israel.
Right.
Um, it's, I think the United States is pretty much the only one that's really supporting Israel. You know, everyone else is kind of like it's either hands off, you know, or they just kind of like just keep their distance, right? Um, but what I'm seeing for us in the United States, okay, yeah, we're pro-Israel, got it, not a big deal, but that that sentiment, that pro-Israel sentiment, is going to come back, right, and pretty much kick us right in the butt. Because remember, you saw what Bin Laden in that letter wrote, the reason for the attack on
Hmm.
our country. He's like was pretty much support for Israel and the things that Israel had done. So that sentiment still that sentiment still resonates within that whole Arabic Muslim community, and there's nothing more than they really want to see but to have the United States part ways with Israel, because what it does, it leaves Israel totally isolated, right? It leaves now. Imagine if we cut support with Israel. Israel is going to be totally isolated, which means all those countries can do whatever they want to Israel. I'm telling you right now.
People talk a lot about the separation of church and state, but in my opinion, the reason that we as the United States government support Israel so much is because the Bible says the Israelites are God's chosen people, and whoever stands with the Israelites will be blessed. And and we just have in our heads that, well, the people in Israel are, we got to protect them because the Bible tells us to, when in fact the people in Israel aren't the Israelites of the Bible any more than the people of Palestine are the Philistines in the Bible.
Right, and that's an issue, right? But
Yeah.
think about how much money we've dumped into Israel and giving them uh, aid. Okay, and I told you when I was in Israel, like we were going around, it was like I forgot this one section of Israel we were in, and it wasn't very nice. Okay, but um, our guide had told us, hey, look, the United States gives these people all this aid, and I said, man, that's welfare. That's what that is. He's like, no, no, that's aid. I'm like, I'm looking at this place. I'm like, that's yeah, it's aid, but it's welfare. I'm like, I'm looking at it. You know, it's not like a kibbutz. Okay, a kibbutz is actually pretty nice. This is kind of like
And for
it's
those that
fun.
don't know, a kibbutz is a house
Yeah,
outside of the city,
right, right,
a suburb.
right. And
That
then I mean,
that's what they make up communities. Go ahead.
yeah. So, but yeah, but this was in Israel, and I'm looking at these places. I'm like, man, it's kind of run down. And he's like, well, United States gives them, so much aid. And I'm like, we give them so much aid. I'm like, that's welfare. I'm looking at the place. He's like, no, he got angry. And he's like, it's aid. And I'm like, no, this is welfare. That's exactly what this is. You're not going to
The
tell
aid
me.
is going. The aid is actually the supplying the military.
Right. But we give them money for
Oh, absolutely.
for their economy. And I'm like this.
Yeah,
I'm like, why are you giving these
yeah.
people all this money for their economy?
And we
For
do
these
the same with Gaza, just not as much.
Yeah, but I'm like, geez, I'm like, we're dumping billions and billions of dollars
Yes.
into these countries where we as Americans don't even have the same. I'm like, why don't you take care of your own people first? Take care of your own people first, and what we have left over, then hey, look, we'll give to them. But actually, give it to like the people that are, um, give it to your Americans. That we're the ones in the country. I mean, I don't get me
Yeah, I
wrong.
know what you're saying.
I don't,
I know what you're
I
saying.
don't think I don't think there's anything wrong with helping out other countries. I really don't.
Right,
Okay,
right.
but check this out. Check this out. If
Don't
I were to
neglect your
go
own people. Don't don't help other countries at the expense of your own people.
right, so if I were to go to another country, if I were to go to Israel or even Gaza or somewhere maybe like Colombia, do you think I would get the same treatment as how we give aid to these countries. Like if I were actually going to a different country, right? Now think about this: when these migrants come to the United States, think about all the stuff they get. Okay, now if I were to go to another country like Colombia, right? All these people are coming maybe from South America or wherever country. If I were to go, if we were to reverse it, and I were to go to any of those countries, how do you think I would be treated if I need medical, if I needed medical or need money, money for finances or anything like that? They'd be telling me, get out of here. You're nobody. Who cares?
You're not a
You see?
citizen here. Why should we take care of you?
Exactly. So what I can't understand is why are we helping all these other people? We should be taking care of our people first. We really should be.
That's interesting, dude. I totally agree. All right. Um, anything else?
No, but the whole thing with you heard about Yemen, right? And we're supposed to be starting some stuff with
Oh
Yemen.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, and
I read
yeah,
the statement from the Department of Defense, and I've got the um, I got the map here. Hang on for a second. Um, we are supposed to be starting something with Yemen. Um, oh, and I've got one other thing I want to draw your attention to. Here's the map. Here's where the green dots are where various U.S. naval um, ships are, and you can see it's pretty much in a line with more to come. So,
yeah.
what's going to happen in Yemen?
All right, so you do know that us joining forces with the Emiratis and of course the Saudis fighting against the Houthi rebels, like that's really nothing new. We're just involved with it now. Okay, 2 years ago, Iran and the Houthi rebels were pretty much fighting against the Yemen government, and Saudi Arabia and the Emiratis were actually backing the Yemeni government, and Iran was backing the Houthi rebels. So I remember one time um, they actually launched a missile, and I think it was reported that it hit in Abu Dhabi. I think it hit the airport, right, in Abu Dhabi.
The
But then
Houthis
also
launched
a
the
missile.
Houthis
Yep.
the Houth. Okay, go ahead.
Because if you pull up a map, you can see the the proximity, okay, between Yemen and UAE, and then also Yemen and Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia and Yemen, they border each other, right? So the other thing is the Houthi rebels also hit oil refinery in Saudi Arabia. I do remember that. So now keep in mind, if we get involved and say, yeah, we're going to attack Yemen, guess what Yemen's going to do? Attack Saudi Arabia's oil fields and the oil refineries. And guess what's going to happen to our oil prices?
They'll go
Straight through
through
the
the
roof,
roof. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
how does it really benefit us attacking the Houthi rebels? Yeah, okay, granted, they're attacking these ships, these Israeli ships, and all this other stuff, but we talked about how economics controls all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if the Houthi rebels, if we attack the Houthi rebels and the Houthi rebels attack Saudi Arabia and their oil fields and refineries, our oil prices are going to shoot straight through the roof. Straight through the roof. You think, okay, oil prices right now are actually pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like we're pretty much paying maybe like 330, like 325 for a gallon of gas, right? That's going to quadruple overnight easily if we start attacking the rebels, and then the rebels start attacking Saudi Arabia. Watch,
Okay. So
watch.
we're talking about Yemen, right down here,
Uh huh.
at the bottom of the
Yep,
Arab
at the bottom.
Peninsula,
Uh huh.
and then come on, get off there. The UAE, and then Kuwait. Bahrain is right here on this little dot, and Iran right over here.
Right.
The carrier moved from up here in the Persian Gulf all the way down. The carrier group is now, as we showed in the map, or down here in the Gulf of Aden,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just, with the map, it's real easy to tell how Yemen would target the Saudi oil fields
Yeah. I mean,
because
it's right there.
yeah, yeah, and
So
and and they're not the friendliest of neighbors.
no, no. So I mean,
Okay. Um, well, I got the map up, and I reported on this last night as well. India and China are fighting along the border with Tibet, Nepal, and Bhutan.
well,
Um,
I can understand because they're both BRICS. They're both BRICS, you know, um, affiliates. You know what I'm saying?
that's what I wanted to bring up because they are actively fighting. Um, are they BRICS for economic purposes, but not necessarily the military alliance?
My understanding is that BRICS was economic, but it was supposed to encompass everything. That was my
Right.
understanding.
Yeah.
I might be
It was.
wrong.
It was born as an economic, primarily to fight the West, but
Right.
however, it was supposed to continue to morph as the movement, if you will, grows.
Yeah, and that's how I took it. But they've actually been fighting for almost the past year and a half now.
Right,
Yeah, right.
right.
So,
But they
um,
haven't engaged like they've engaged recently, to
right,
where people are dying, soldiers are dying.
right. So that kind of just like blew my mind. I'm like you're both BRICS countries. Why are you fighting each other? I don't understand
Yeah,
that. Now, it would
yeah,
be
yeah.
funny if the United States jumped in and started supporting India to fight against China. But then you know what? But then you know what happened? Russia would jump in, and Iran would jump in, and they would start um, might do something there in Israel. You know, just I mean, just because
It's
they can.
all and it's all within the same area, basically. Or
Yeah, it is.
Pardon me. All right. I've got one more thing while you're here, Chris, and we'll close after this. Have I got it up? Yeah. Okay. This is David Sheen, an independent journalist, explains the kind of education the IDF. Oh no, this isn't the one. We'll save this for Wednesday night. I want to show this other one. Here it is. Israeli Defense Forces basically YouTube themselves in the homes of people they have taken hostage, and beginning, and it's got the closed captioning. I never imagined show them what's here.
לא ככה זה
עם דובונים, בנוסף לכל. מה אתה מאחל לנו, אביזמיל?
מקלחת.
טוב, אנחנו נפסנו על הרגע פה.
מה אתה מאחל לנו?
לנפוש בחוף של עזה.
ג'מיל, מה אתה מאחל לנו?
לזיין על החוף של עזה.
Okay, did these guys film themselves committing a war crime?
So here's the thing: they might be talking smack, Then again,
Yeah.
They might not be, but it needs to be investigated. It should be investigated. But once again, the Israeli government said they're not going to be doing any investigations. Remember that when Benny
Yes.
Gantz came out and said, "We're going to do
Basically.
pretty much whatever we want," right?
Right. There are no rules of engagement, and there
Mhm.
won't be any investigations into the conduct of IDF in the
Exactly.
execution of this mission.
So it's a free for all for them. So they can pretty much do what they want.
All right, man. Well, thank you as always for being here and for giving up your time. And hopefully you'll be with us Wednesday night.
Yep, I'll be here Wednesday night, ready to go.
All right. Look forward to it, my man.
Okay, thank you for having me on again the show.
As always, thank you, brother. We'll see you soon.
Take care. Have a good night.
You too. And all of you as well, have a good night. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for clicking on. Hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber, or if you are a subscriber. Some people have said, they don't get notified, and they found out that they were unsubscribed somehow. So if you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the notification bell if you want to know when we're on. You want to contact me, do so. American Doofus, AmericanDufus at gmail.com. And once again, this coming Sunday night, we will have a Christmas Eve holiday special, and do the same thing on the 31st. And we might have special guests on both occasions. You never know. So until Wednesday night, we'll be on at Wednesday night at 9 once again with Chris. I may be on tomorrow depending on developments, and if not, we will see you at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time Wednesday night for the next edition of the World Set Rep. It's the Smart People Show, and we thank you again for watching. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Love you like chocolate chip cookies, and it is a dark world. Be a light. See you next time.